Inspiration is something that motivates many of us. It can be a friend who motivates you to step out your comfort zone, or it can be someone who you look up to who makes you want to be the best possible version of yourself. For Sarada Uchiha, as she journeys down her path to becoming the next Hokage, many fans rightfully point to the events of Naruto Gaiden as being the moment where Naruto became her main inspiration, and they're not wrong in that aspect. Naruto did serve as a huge inspiration for her character. However, in the time since Naruto sat down with Sarada, sharing food with her and talking about her father, and in this time, another Uzumaki has become the source of inspiration for Sarada and the source of Sarada's strength. That Uzumaki is none other than Boruto Uzumaki. In today's installment of Sasuke Shinden, the teacher star pupil, which I'll leave links to down in the description box for anyone who wants to read the novel and do so in a way that helps support the channel, we're going to be taking a look at this moment where Sarada gains strength directly because of Boruto Uzumaki. Now, in the scene I'm going to share with you guys, Sarada finds herself in a very peculiar situation. So she and Mitsuki have identified the shooters in the crowd of 50,000 people who want to kill the client who hired them to protect her. However, they can't actually get to the stage where the shooter is actually headed to, because everything that Sarada and Mitsuki had planned has fallen apart by them not having all the info needed to make the proper plan, which goes back to Boruto making a bad decision to take up this case and not actually give it to Naruto, where somebody like Shikamaru would say, hey, your story, Lily, it don't add up too much. In fact, as she watches Mitsuki surf through the crowd, being tossed around by the concert goers, going from happy hand to happy hand, Sarada desperately searches for a way to get to the stage, because the idea of so many people touching her and having her tossed around until she gets to the front of the stage is not something that Sarada is comfortable with. Boruto has used a transformation jutsu to pretend to be Lily and is unaware of the shooters who are coming to take him out. Everywhere that she looks, there's no realistic way for her to make it to Boruto in time, and her desperation is growing, as does her feeling of humiliation at the idea of being surrounded by so many strange people, grabbing at her body, passing her around from one person to the next, as they're wrapped up in the euphoric pleasure of the moment that they're all caught up in, living purely for their own pleasure and nothing more, existing only in this moment as they're all moving in the rhythm of the concert's music, and their bodies are all connected as one during this time. However, it's during this time that Sarada's will has been thrown into question, and she finds herself doubting herself in this time, but that's where Boruto Uzumaki comes into play. So with the scene and the context being set, it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. The wild fans held up Mitsuki's body and passed him forward, tossing him from person to person. What? I had no idea that Mitsuki was that type of a guy, but wow, I can't do that. No way, Sarada thought to herself. Vehemently opposed to any type of human surfing, Sarada cast about for another route to get to the front of the crowd, but stopped when she caught sight of Boruto on the stage. Bathed in the spotlight, he was dancing in a dress and heels, sweat shining on his forehead. Sarada frowned. Did her own personality even matter in the face of a mission? Neither Boruto nor Mitsuki was even slightly accustomed to any of this, but they're all fighting hard. No matter how dorky they might have looked, no matter how uncomfortable they might have been, this was no time for her to get upset. She suddenly leaped onto a fan's shoulders. She could feel the passionate intensity of the excited crowd below. This is scary. I don't want to do this, but I don't have any choice, Sarada thought to herself. Lily, you're the super best, Sarada shouted awkwardly. She spread her arms out and she dove into the audience. Instantly, a swarm of hands sprung up around her body and began to whisk her away towards the stage. She felt like a bamboo leaf flowing down the river. It was a strange, icky sensation, but it was the fastest way to get to the stage. She was going to get there ahead of those men. That's the only thing that mattered. She could swallow her pride if it was for the sake of the mission. End quote. Now, what I love how in this moment, and Boruto Sarada fans, you guys should just be getting your pom-poms out and your cheerleading gloves and all the other stuff that you do when you start shipping all these characters together. You should be absolutely hyped over this moment right here. This should be like one of those boxes that you check and say, see, this is proof number 1232 divided by that 10 and carried to the 10th power that proves that Sarada and Boruto are gonna end up together. This is what you should be using right here, because what I love how in this moment is how even without realizing Boruto actually inspired Sarada to step outside of her comfort zone, which is something that you want to be able to do for your friends, or for you Boruto Sarada shippers, you should say, hey, this is a sign that Sarada felt love for Boruto because look what she sacrificed for him. Now, Sarada hated the idea of being in a position where she was not going to be in control and being crowd surfed. I don't know if you guys ever done that, but I mean, yo, like, I don't know these folks, but you trust them, like, yo, you bet not drop me. Like, I understand where she's coming from. Like, that's a scary ass feeling, but you know, you just roll with it when you do it. So I get where she's coming from. I was scared as hell the first time I did it in college. But this is the thing though, for Sarada, the mission parameters have changed. And so Sarada herself changed with the mission. She's noticed how Mitsuki allowed himself to be controlled by the crowd via crowd surfing. She's also noticed how Boruto's completely uncomfortable on stage, pretending to be living his best life as he pressed around in high heels and stilettos and a short dress, holding a thick microphone in his hand as he performed for the audience, as he was blowing kisses at people, as he was making meow sounds, as Boruto was clawing in a sexual manner at probably grown men in the crowd who get off on that stuff. My man really came back from Hozuki Castle a changed man. I'm starting to wonder if maybe somebody in prison called this man their little Jogan princess. Sarada saw all of that and said, if Boruto can do this, I can allow myself to get tossed if it means that I'm going to be able to actually get to the stage. Sarada in that moment had no choice but to swallow her own pride as well. The path to being Hokage was never an easy one, and sometimes it will require stepping out of her own comfort zone. If she was gonna be the Hokage, not everything would go according to plan, and by watching her friend embarrass himself on the stage, she found the courage to swallow her own pride and see the mission through to the end. However, that's gonna be it for this installment of Sasuke Shinden. My question to you guys, what does this say in your opinion about the relationship with Boruto and Sarada? And if you're somebody that puts Boruto and Sarada together as a pairing, is this something that you would actually use to make that argument? Do you think that Boruto and Sarada are destined to be together? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.